Alright, guys, I just couldn't help myself. I had an idea. Alright, we're in Puzzle Master. Let's just do us a new window. And I'm going to create me a new folder. And we're going to call it Maze Master. And we're gonna open Maze Master. Yes. Control L. And I'm going to say, let's build a fun and exciting game where the user must navigate complex mazes period. The game should have a character who moves through the maze, and we're just going to keep it simple. And I'm going to hit enter, and I'll help you create an engaging maze game with a character navigation system. Let's build this using Python, Pygame, and Pygame for the graphics. I'll create a structured project with the following components. First, I'll create a basic project structure with the necessary files. Now I'll create the main game file with the core functionality. And so, let's see what kind of game he gives us right off the bat. I've created a fully functional maze game. Let me explain the key components. It uses that for the graphics, implements a recursive backtracking algorithm for maze generation. Okay, and it features a player class with movement controls, includes collision detecting with maze walls, has a win condition when reaching the endpoint, and uses 20 by 20 grid. Red square represents the player, black squares are walls, white spaces are paths, green square is the end goal, arrow keys for movement. When message appears when reaching the goal, and let's run the game. First we'll install the requirements. Yeah, do it. Now let's run the game. Accept. Yep, the game sure is running. And so that's what, our red square up there at the top. What? That's us. That's our character. Is that our character? Let's see if we can get to that green box down there. Oh, yep, it's moving. All right, that's not really what I imagined. I imagined a little man running through a three-dimensional maze. And so let's see if we can do a little better than that. Now, I don't see any. I guess I see some alternate paths. No, I don't really see any alternate paths that could have been taken. Let's see what happens when I get to the end here. Nothing really, couldn't really reach that end. So there's one little problem, but that's not bad. A little maze game. It's amazing. Okay, so, you know, and I can tell him what I just said. Okay, um, I imagined a little man running through a 3D maze with stone looking walls covered with ivy, period. And let's see if he can make those types of improvements. Oh, I see. Let's transform this into a more immersive 3D maze game with atmospheric elements, and we'll use Pi OpenGL for 3D rendering. Oh, really? And add textures for the stone walls and ivy. I'll create a more engaging visual experience. All right. I'll update the requirements. And let's create a new version of the game with 3D graphics and textures. We'll first create a directory for our textures. All right, let's do that. He encountered an error, and he takes a different approach. And he's working. And so let's see if we can get something that looks a little better than, a little more basic than that, because this is just basic junk right there is what that is. This is all just basic junk. And, it's not junk, but you know what I mean. It's basic. And so let's see if we can get something a little more basic. A little more than basic. And if I had a pause feature, I would implement it. Okay, let's install the updated requirements. All right, install those updated requirements. See, he's doing all the work. He's installing all this stuff. I don't have to install nothing. I don't have to go find it. I don't have to manually enter these scripts right here into the command terminal and install this stuff. He does it for me. So I really, really like this program because all I have to do is sit here and babysit, basically. And I can get real specific if I want to. I'm being very general and very basic with it just to demonstrate to you guys that you don't need to be technical to be able to work with this stuff. I see we're having some issues. Let's modify our requirements to use just that one package. Let me try installing the requirements. See, let's try installing the requirements again. You do that. And, if we were manually doing all this kind of stuff, it would take us a lot longer to do it manually than it takes him to do it. He can do all this stuff way faster than a programmer would be able to do it. Great. Now let's run our 3D maze game. So he created a 3D maze game with the following features. A first-person perspective with 3D stone walls and ivy decoration. Excuse me. Procedurally generated maze using a recursive backtracking algorithm, smooth movement and rotation controls. W is to move forward, S is to move backward, A is to rotate left, D is to rotate right, escape is to exit the game. Okay, so the mechanics, collision detection with walls. All right, start at the top left corner. Goal is to reach the bottom right. Randomly generated maze layout each time you play. The game should now be running in the new window. Alright, so I'm going to accept And let's just see if we get a better version of this game. Let's see. Well, that's not bad. I'm actually walking through a 3D. Oh, I see what it did. See my ivy growing on my stone? And so it's a little bit difficult to navigate. Okay. And but hey, that's a lot better than that other game that we had, that simple game. I mean, it just depends. If you're going for simple, then what we had is fine. Now, see, I'm not really digging it too much because I'm running into, a dead end, and these turning keys are opposite. So the left key actually turns right, and the right key turns left. And so that's hard to get used to. I didn't find the end, anyways. I didn't see it. But there's my ivy. So it said escape. Alright. So escape got me out. And so, alright. So, I don't know if that's better or worse than the first one. So that was my little experiment that I just had to test out for some reason because I had games on the brain. What kind of games can I make? And to what extent can we make these games? And I'm sure we can do a lot better than that. But that's a decent start for 5 minutes worth of work. So just wanted to share that with you guys. Yeah, just wanted to share that. And I will catch y'all on the flip side. And I'm not going to end